My GF learned the wrong sign language. I'm 24 meters. Hard of hearing. My hearing isn't that bad. I wear a hearing aids when I go in public. For safety reasons. But when I'm home I don't. I mostly read lips and I don't sign that much. I only sign with my family over FaceTime. I'm originally from England and I moved to Canada 5 years ago. Anyway, my Canadian girlfriend, 20, and I have been dating for 11 months now. We communicate by me reading her lips or writing it down. We have even texted when we're in the same room occasionally when we're feeling lazy. She doesn't know sign language at all. I don't mind she doesn't know. It's not a big deal to me. Recently, I got back from visiting my family in England. I haven't seen them since COVID happened. I was gone for 2 weeks. My girlfriend couldn't go cause of school. She dropped me off at the airport and took care of my dog for me. We did text and video chatted a lot. I can't talk on the phone. I won't hear anything. She kept saying she misses me and can't wait to see me soon. It was kind of hard not seeing her for that long. Thought it was cute. We haven't been apart for this long before. I returned home. She picked me up. And a few days my girlfriend come over. I invited her to my place. She wore heavy makeup and her blonde roots were touched up. She looked stunning. Things between us got heated and got down to having a little fun. Afterwards, I told her I loved her for the first time. My girlfriend, while we were in bed still, smiled and started making weird hand movements. I stared at her, confused. Then she grabbed a notebook when I said I don't understand and wrote, "I learned some ASL while you were gone. I was keeping it a surprise for you." I said I love you too. I had tried hard not to laugh. I could tell she put a ton of effort into this. But I couldn't control myself and burst into laughter. I wrote back, "I know BSL. British Sign Language. ASL is different. I did miss you, babe." I explained to her every country has its version of sign language. I'm used to lip reading and I don't often sign. She thought the English-speaking sign language was universal, but I wasn't trying to be a dick. I only correcting her gently. After I told her all this, she got quiet and said she had to go. She got her things and left. She kind of seemed upset when I saw her get in her car. I think she might have even been crying a bit. I do appreciate the thought and only just trying to explain ASL isn't the same as BSL. I had no idea what she was saying. I had a couple of girlfriends before her while in Canada and none of them tried learning sign language. Like I said, I don't expect it. Even when I lived in the UK, I never had a partner learn BSL. It's not that important to me. She has asked some questions about my deafness, but I usually change the topic or give a vague answer. I don't like talking about my disability 24/7. For reference, it's like speaking Chinese to someone who only speaks Spanish. I didn't mean to come off as an ass and I was a bit of jet lagged too. I know some ASL, but I grew up with BSL. I'm fluent in it. Also, I hardly ever sign in my everyday life. She's the sweetest girl ever and I don't think I could do better if I tried. My parents and sister adore her when they are all over Zoom. My mom told me that it was about time I met a nice girl and my dad warned me not to screw it up as she's a keeper. My sister joked she would book a flight to slap some sense into me if I made her cry. I texted her a few times but she said she needs time. She feels really stupid. She has a cognitive disability. I kind of think it's hilarious and I'm not mad at her. Thoughts? Did I do something wrong? I'm sure she's quite embarrassed after no doubt feeling proud of her efforts. Only to discover they went into learning the wrong language. I suggest apologizing for laughing. And tell her how very sweet a gesture it was for her to put so much effort into learning a new skill to try to better communicate with her. Let her know how much the gesture meant to you. And I wouldn't acknowledge the humor of the situation anymore. as it's likely just going to be salt in her wound. No matter how funny you may find the mix-up to be, it sounds like a good and healthy relationship. And like this is something you two can overcome with some reassurance and gratitude from you. Good luck, bud. She has asked some questions about my deafness, but I usually change the topic or give a vague answer. I don't like talking about my disability 24/7. While I understand you don't want to talk about it, she's actively trying to learn about it and about you. You shouldn't constantly table a discussion like this because she is supposed to be in your life for the long haul. And things affect her too. There's ways to compromise on this situation. You sit her down. Tell her she can ask all the questions she wants. After giving her time to gather them. Since she has a cognitive disability, I kind of think it's hilarious and I'm not mad at her. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you think it's hilarious. You laughed at her trying to learn something because you refused to communicate clearly with your disability. She dressed to the nines. You even stated she looked gorgeous. And she tried to do something nice for you without knowing anything about it because you won't talk about it. And then you literally laughed in her face. Edit. Thanks for the gold. It sounds like her feelings were hurt when you laughed. You should have a conversation with her and explain to her. When you talk to her, make an emphasis on how sweet of a gesture of her learning sign language for you. Do you think that is something you can teach her as a couple to do thing? Don't let your girlfriend leave if you think she is crying. Ask her to stay so you can talk it out. Go learn how to say I'm sorry in ASL? I think she is feeling like shit because she put all the effort to learn and now she learned the wrong language. And you kid have laughed at her. Less than. This is just one of those things that happen. Not your fault, but she tried really hard, so it's natural she's disappointed. It's a pity you laughed, but again, fairly natural reaction. But she has a cognitive disability. Way to bury the lead. Sounds like it's time you learned a bit about her cognitive disability and how to communicate with her in a way that minimizes her feelings of stupidity, inadequacy, embarrassment. This is the sort of thing that is funny later. Maybe years later. It was mean to laugh. Ouch. You laughed at her after she tried to tell you she loved you too. Of course she left upset. That'd hurt anyone, regardless of the situation. I know that in that case I would feel embarrassed and probably a little bit sad you didn't appreciate and or show you appreciate the gesture. 'Cause while to you it's not important, for her it was probably hard and she did her best to surprise you. Try to see her effort and appreciate it more. That's the key. Also offer to teach her if she wants to. It's a nice thing to know. Apologize for laughing, but thank her most sincerely for putting in the effort to learn it. I think it shows a real commitment to you. I spent a couple years learning ASL. Trying to. Anyway, as soon as I saw this, I'm originally from England, I started chuckling. That's genuinely adorable. I take it that she hasn't been studying very long. It's an obvious mistake. I guess laughing is a normal response. Hugging her would have been better. I hope you can make this right. She sounds like a keeper. Maybe show her this thread? The way you phrased this made it seem like you expect a cookie for not being mad at her. Obviously no one would assume you're mad at her. She did a really thoughtful thing for you and put in tons of effort to learn sign language for you. Instead of laughing at her, or saying it like, it's not her fault, you should be telling her how appreciative you are of her and reinforcing that you love her. Maybe suggest that you teach her BSL as an activity you can do together. Stop saying, no one learned it before. It's not important. She cared enough about you to want to feel closer to you by learning sign language. You need to show more appreciation and acknowledgements of her effort. Thoughts? Did I do something wrong? Yes. This is what you did wrong. She has asked some questions about my deafness, but I usually change the topic or give a vague answer. I don't like talking about my disability 24/7. Kind of a dick move. There is a large gap between asking in your own words some questions and talking about it 24/7. Changing the topic and giving vague answer just make you a dick imho. If you had have talked to her about it, could have told her you know BSL, but you avoided any question like a dick. I'm not sure you made it clear to her that you appreciated what she tried to do. Instead she just feels embarrassed, and in this post you keep reiterating that it's not that important. You said none of your previous girlfriends tried to learn sign language. And it makes me think that she is honestly pretty special if she's the only one. Even though it's not that important to you. I think her attempting to learn speaks volumes about how much she cares about being closer to you. Especially since you don't like talking about your deafness. I don't think her not knowing is that surprising of a mistake. I'd be upset too. I understand her mistake, but ouch. I'd be upset. By the same logic, imagine you're lost in a country where you don't speak the language and you really need to tell one person something. You went out of your way to learn the dialect and it was not the right one. So when you go and talk to this person, they would straight laugh in your face. That wouldn't feel nice for you. The fact that she has a cognitive disability and you having your own could make you have a little bit more sympathy for her. And honestly, she deserves to ask questions about your disability, because guess what? That's the only way she can learn. Why didn't you answer her questions about deafness? She tried to know more by asking you for information. Please don't make fun of her for this. Clearly the solution is that you need to learn ASL as well now. If someone tried to speak to me in Chinese when I only spoke Spanish, laughing at them for putting forth that effort would make me an asshole. I sincerely hope you can salvage this. But you need to apologize and learn to communicate better. Learn the local version of sign for where you are going to live. You can start by asking her to teach you. Sorry. You laughed at her? She was genuinely trying to do something nice and was so excited to show you, and you laughed. In her face, no less? Dick move. You owe her an apology.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.